All right, so get ready. Because today we're diving deep into something really mind-bending. I'm talking
Perfect.
parallel timelines
Okay.
and probabilities.
Right.
And, all those excerpts you sent in from the Law of One,
Right.
that's what we're using as like our guide for this deep dive.
Okay, cool.
So we're
Yeah.
trying to figure out
Yeah.
how to choose the best ending in like choose your own adventure book, but for reality.
It really is a concept that challenges how we normally think about reality, right?
Yeah.
As this like fixed linear thing.
Uh-huh.
The Law of One kind of presents this idea that
Mm-hmm.
there are all these potential timelines branching off,
Right.
and they branch off based on choices
Choices
that we make at both the individual level
Mhm.
and the collective level.
So are we talking about like Back to the Future kind of stuff?
Not exactly.
Okay.
It's not so much about like changing the past.
Uh-huh.
It's more about understanding how every choice we make
Mhm.
each moment
Yeah.
has the potential to lead us down a different path.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this connects to the idea of probabilities.
Yeah.
Is it kind of like
Mhm.
rolling the dice with each decision that we make?
I think you could think about it that way.
Okay.
It's almost as if with each choice, we're
Yeah.
kind of steering ourselves toward a particular current
Okay.
in this flowing river.
Like currents and eddies that
Exactly.
represent different probabilities.
Yeah, that's how the Law of One describes it.
So are we just kind of like aimlessly drifting along,
Mm-hmm.
or do we actually have any influence?
That's a great question. And
Yeah.
that's where things get really interesting. Because
Okay.
the Law of One really emphasizes the power of our consciousness
Consciousness.
in shaping those probabilities.
Oh, wow.
It suggests that the more we align our thoughts and our emotions and our actions
Okay.
with things like love and light,
Love and light. Okay.
the more likely we are
Yeah.
to experience those harmonious timelines.
Okay.
And kind of the flip side of that is
Mhm.
if we get stuck in fear-based patterns,
Yeah.
it tends to strengthen
Yeah.
those kind of chaotic,
Okay.
less desirable paths.
So it's like we're in this cosmic tug of war
Exactly.
between love and fear.
Yeah.
And our choices are kind of what determine which side wins.
Yeah. And,
Yeah.
the Law of One actually uses a really great analogy.
Okay.
It talks about a compass needle.
Mm-hmm.
And imagine if everyone's intentions are all over the place.
Right.
That needle's just going to wobble around.
Yeah.
But if you can get a critical mass
Yeah.
of consciousness all aligning in the same direction, it's like everyone's focusing their will
Yeah.
and steering that needle towards a specific point.
That's a really powerful image.
Yeah, it is.
It makes me think about all those times when like things feel like they're just going haywire in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Are those moments
Yeah,
potential signs?
that's a really great question. Of a timeline shift, the Law of One does suggest a few things to look out for
Okay.
that might indicate these shifts
Okay.
in planetary probability fields.
Like what kind of things?
Well, think about those global movements
Oh,
where
yeah.
like suddenly a huge amount of people
Have-
are like awakening to some new idea or concept,
Mm.
or maybe there's like a collective surge of fear that's happening.
Oh, yeah.
Or you even see those instances where
Mm.
there's a lot of resistance to control structures within society.
Oh, okay.
All of those things can potentially be indicators.
So if we're paying attention,
Yeah,
we might actually be able to sense those shifts happening.
precisely.
Wow.
The Law of One encourages us to become more aware
Okay.
of those subtle shifts in energy,
Okay.
both within ourselves and in the world around us.
This is already blowing my mind.
Yeah.
It's like we're all connected in this massive cosmic dance.
Yeah.
And our choices have effects that we can't even imagine.
Absolutely. And that brings us to one of the most fascinating parts of this whole concept.
Okay, what's that?
Personal timeline shifts.
Personal timeline shifts.
Have you ever had those moments
Yeah.
where it seems like things are just changing so rapidly in your life?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like those unexpected turns
Yeah,
that take you in a whole new direction.
totally. Like that time,
Yeah.
I randomly decided to move across the country
Okay.
for a job I wasn't even sure I wanted.
Wow.
It felt like jumping off a cliff,
Yeah.
but it ended up being like the best decision ever.
That's such a great example.
Yeah.
Now the Law of One doesn't like
Okay.
specifically lay out a way to like definitively recognize those personal shifts.
Yeah.
But those moments of significant change or those unexpected twists and turns could very well be those points where different probabilities are converging.
So it's like we've stepped onto a different path,
Potentially.
a different version of reality,
Yeah. It's a fascinating possibility.
without even realizing it.
Yeah. And we might never know for sure.
Right.
But the Law of One really encourages us
Yeah.
to consider the power of choice
Okay.
in how we navigate
Navigate
all
open.
these probabilities.
Okay.
Even the smallest decisions can have huge ripple effects,
Wow.
ultimately shaping the reality we experience.
Okay, this is a lot to take in,
Yeah, it is.
but it also feels really empowering.
It is empowering.
Like we have more agency
Yeah,
than we might have thought
absolutely.
in creating our reality.
And
Yeah, fully.
the law of one reminds us that with that agency
Okay.
comes a lot of responsibility.
Responsibility.
If reality is truly this fluid,
Yeah.
then every single choice,
Wow.
every thought,
Oh.
every action carries more weight than
Wow.
we could ever imagine.
So what does all of this mean for like a regular person
Yeah.
who's just trying to like make sense of their life and their journey?
Right.
Does the law of one
Well,
offer any kind of guidance?
it doesn't offer like a step-by-step instruction manual,
Okay.
but it does offer some really intriguing clues.
Okay, like what?
Well, it suggests that by becoming more aware of our thoughts and emotions,
Okay.
and even our intuition,
Our intuition, okay.
those gut feelings,
Mhm.
we can actually start to recognize which timeline we're currently aligned with.
Oh, wow.
And then from there,
Yeah.
we can make more conscious choices about the direction.
The direction. Okay.
Okay. What are you okay?
So it's kind of like learning to read the signs,
It is.
both internal and external,
Yeah.
that point us towards the path
Yeah,
that we're supposed to be on.
precisely. And as we develop that awareness,
Okay.
we might even start to see more of those synchronicities.
Synchronous.
Like those meaningful coincidences
Oh, yeah, okay.
that seem to confirm that we're heading in the right direction.
It's making me think about all those times when I ignored my gut feeling and ended up regretting it.
Yeah.
What if those were missed opportunities
Ooh.
to shift onto a better timeline?
That is a really interesting question to consider.
Yeah.
And the law of one really does suggest that intuition
Okay.
is a powerful tool
Okay.
for navigating these probabilities.
Yeah.
So maybe, just maybe, those gut feelings
Those
are
like-
those subtle whispers
Feelings.
from our higher selves
Okay.
trying to guide us toward
Oh, wow.
the path of greatest alignment.
Okay, now I'm really curious
Yeah.
about this whole higher self thing.
Yeah.
Does the law of one
It does.
talk about that?
It does. And that's where things get even more mind-bending.
Okay, let's hear it.
All right. So the law of one basically suggests that we exist on multiple levels
Multiple levels.
at the same time.
Oh, wow.
And this includes like a higher self aspect
Higher self aspect.
that resides in a higher density.
Out of your density.
It even describes what happens after physical death,
Oh, wow.
like a transition of consciousness
Okay.
through various realms or densities.
Hold on a sec.
Yeah.
Before we get into the afterlife,
Okay.
let's unpack what these densities actually are.
Yeah. Let's unpack those densities.
I'm already hooked,
Okay.
but I need a little more context
All right.
before we go full cosmic traveler.
Yeah, I gotcha. Okay, so the law of one describes these densities
Okay.
as like different levels of consciousness
Okay.
or vibrational frequencies.
So like a ladder.
Yeah, you could think of it that way, with
Right.
each rung representing a higher level of awareness
Okay.
and understanding.
Okay, so third density,
Yeah,
like where we are now,
exactly.
that's Earth School 101.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
What about these higher densities, though?
Okay.
So what are those like?
The law of one suggests that as we evolve spiritually,
Hmm?
we kind of move through these densities.
Okay.
Each one offers like unique lessons
Uh-huh.
and experiences.
So fourth density,
Yeah, fourth density is described as a
Awesome.
realm of love and compassion,
love and compassion. Okay.
where we really start to experience
Yeah.
a deeper sense of unity
Unity.
with others.
Okay.
Fifth density,
Fifth density.
that's about wisdom
Okay.
and knowledge.
Got it.
And then sixth density is
Yes.
where love and wisdom
Okay.
become fully integrated.
Wow. It's like we're constantly leveling up in a video game,
Yeah.
expanding our consciousness.
Yeah, it's a great analogy.
And understanding of reality.
Yeah.
But how do these densities connect back to
Okay. So
what we're talking about with timelines and probabilities?
that is a great question.
Yeah.
The law of one suggests that these densities aren't like separate, isolated realms, but rather intertwined aspects of a multidimensional reality.
like layers of a cake.
Like layers of a cake.
Okay.
They exist all at the same time.
Yeah.
But we're mainly focused on the layer that we're currently inhabiting.
So are you saying that there might be versions of ourselves, like higher self aspects,
Yeah,
existing in these higher densities.
exactly. Yeah, and according to the law of one,
Okay.
these higher self aspects
Yeah.
have a much broader perspective
Broader perspective.
on our journey.
Okay.
And they're offering us guidance
Okay.
and support.
So it's kind of like having a wise mentor
Yeah.
who can see the bigger picture,
Exactly.
even when we're caught up in the details.
Yeah, that's a great way to think about it.
That's both comforting and a little intimidating.
I know, right?
It makes you think about those moments of intuition
Mm-hmm.
we were discussing earlier.
Yeah.
Could those be
That's a great question.
like glimpses of guidance
It's definitely possible.
from our higher selves?
The law of one suggests
Okay.
that our intuition is one of the main ways
Okay.
our higher selves communicate with us.
So those gut feelings.
Yeah, those gut feelings.
Those sudden, like, aha moments.
Exactly.
They might be subtle nudges.
Yeah.
Encouraging us to make certain choices.
Choices that are aligned with our soul's purpose.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But it raises another question.
Okay, what's that?
If our higher selves have this, like, broader perspective,
Mm-hmm.
why don't they just tell us exactly what to do?
That's where free will comes in.
Free will.
The law of one really emphasizes
Okay.
free will as a fundamental principle of the universe.
So that they respect our choices.
Exactly.
Like-
They allow us to learn and grow through our own experiences.
So they're more like offering suggestions
Yeah.
than directives.
Or more like a gentle nudge in the right direction.
So it's about learning to trust our intuition
Yeah.
and making choices that resonate with our inner truth, even if we don't fully get why.
Exactly. And as we get better at listening to that inner guidance,
Yeah.
we might find ourselves navigating all these probabilities
Yeah.
with a little more grace.
Grace.
Intention.
This is fascinating stuff.
It is.
But I have to admit, it's a
Yeah.
lot to absorb.
It is a lot.
How can someone actually, like, start to integrate these concepts into their daily life?
Right.
We've been talking about these big cosmic ideas,
Yeah.
but how do we bring it down to earth?
Yeah, that's the key, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, the law of one actually offers some practical suggestions.
Okay, like what?
For people who are looking to actually apply these principles,
Okay.
it emphasizes the importance of regular meditation
Okay.
as a way to quiet the mind,
Okay.
connect with our higher selves, and become more attuned
Platoons.
to the subtle energies that are influencing our reality.
So it's not just sitting cross-legged on a cushion
Yeah.
chanting
There's a real purpose behind it.
There's a purpose.
The law of one actually views meditation as a really powerful tool
Powerful tool.
for expanding our consciousness
Okay.
and accessing those higher realms of awareness.
Okay, so meditation makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Are there other practical things we
Yeah.
can do
Yeah, for sure.
to, like, align with those higher probabilities?
Yeah.
And maybe even influence which timeline we experience?
The law of one talks about focusing on cultivating positive emotions.
Okay.
Like love, joy,
Boy, joy.
gratitude,
And passion.
both within ourselves
Okay.
and in how we interact with others.
So it's not just sitting on a mountaintop meditating.
Right.
We have to bring it into the real world.
Yeah, you got to bring those positive vibes into the real world.
Okay, got it.
Because the law of one suggests
Yeah.
that those positive emotions
Mm.
have a higher vibrational frequency.
Okay.
And by embodying them,
Yeah.
we align ourselves with those harmonious timelines.
It's like we're tuning our inner radio
Exactly.
to a different station.
Yeah.
One that broadcasts a more loving and joyful reality.
I love that analogy.
So if we want to experience a more peaceful
Yeah.
and loving world,
Mm.
we need to start by cultivating those qualities within ourselves.
Precisely. And you know,
Yeah.
the law of one emphasizes this idea
Right.
that we're all interconnected
Yeah.
and that our individual choices and actions have a ripple effect on the collective consciousness.
Okay, so we're all connected.
Yeah.
Our thoughts and emotions have an impact on reality.
Mm-hmm.
But what about all that stuff happening in the world
Right.
that feels outside of our control, like natural disasters,
Right.
political turmoil,
Right.
or even just bad luck?
Yeah.
Do those events play a role in shaping timelines?
That's a great question. And that brings us to the idea of catalyst.
Catalyst.
Those challenges,
Yeah.
obstacles
Yeah.
that appear in our lives.
Like the trials the hero faces in a movie.
Exactly.
Okay.
They seem impossible at first,
Yeah.
but ultimately they make the hero stronger and wiser.
Okay, I see that.
Yeah. So the law of one suggests that by facing these catalysts with courage and compassion, we actually transform them into opportunities for soul growth.
So as we evolve, we contribute to the collective evolution of consciousness.
It's like we're all playing a cosmic video game.
Oh, yeah.
Or we're the players, and our choices determine the outcome.
But instead of fighting monsters and collecting gold, we're facing real-life challenges.
Exactly.
And evolving our consciousness.
Yeah, that's a great way to think about it.
So we're co-creators. We have more agency than we realize.
Absolutely.
But I can't help but wonder if there's a downside to intentionally trying to like manipulate these timelines. Could we mess things up?
That's a valid concern. The law of one actually cautions against trying to force things or control outcomes. It suggests that we're not supposed to be puppet masters, manipulating reality to get what we want, but rather co-creators working in harmony with the universe.
So it's about aligning with the flow. Trusting that there's a plan.
Trusting the process. Even if we don't always get it.
All right. I'm starting to get this whole co-creation thing.
Awesome.
But, you know, there are times when it feels like the world is heading in a pretty dark direction. If we're all connected and our thoughts and emotions influence reality, how can we stay hopeful when there's so much negativity and chaos?
That's a question a lot of people struggle with. And the law of one offers a perspective that might be helpful. Remember that it talks about this cosmic game of tug of war between love and fear. While it's true that negativity and chaos can feel overwhelming, it's important to remember that for every act of darkness, there are countless acts of love, kindness, and compassion happening at the same time.
So it's like a balancing act.
Yeah, you could say that.
We need to focus on amplifying the positive, even when we're surrounded by negativity.
Precisely.
The law of one suggests that by choosing love, compassion, and unity, we're helping to shift things towards a more harmonious timeline.
Not just for ourselves, but for the whole planet.
That's a powerful thought.
It is.
It's like we all have a responsibility. To be a beacon of light, you know, radiating those positive vibes out to the world.
But what about those negative entities we talked about? The Orion group. If they're focused on servile to self, wouldn't they be trying to pull us towards those darker timelines?
That's a great point. And the law of one addresses this. It suggests that these negative entities actually serve as a catalyst for growth. They challenge us to confront our shadows and make choices that are aligned with our desired polarity. So it's like a cosmic test.
You could think of it that way. They're pushing us to choose between fear and love, separation and unity. And the law of one suggests that by recognizing these challenges and choosing to align with our highest selves, we not only strengthen our own spiritual resolve, but we also contribute to the collective shift towards a more harmonious reality.
This is incredibly empowering.
It is.
But I have to admit, it's a lot to process.
I know, it's a lot to take in.
Is there anything we can do practically to navigate these challenges?
The law of one emphasizes the importance of discernment. Being able to distinguish between truth and illusion, positive and negative influences.
So like developing a spiritual radar.
Exactly. Learning to spot those red flags and avoid those pitfalls that might lead us down a path we don't want to go down. And as we cultivate discernment, we also strengthen our ability to recognize and align with those positive influences.
Those positive influences.
Those synchronicities and opportunities that guide us toward our highest potential.
This is all making so much sense now.
I'm glad to hear that.
But I know we need to wrap up soon. Before we do, is there anything else from the law of one you think is crucial?
Yeah, there's one final point that's worth emphasizing.
Okay, let's hear it.
This idea that these timelines aren't entirely separate and isolated. The law of one suggests that under certain circumstances, these timelines can actually intersect, overlap, and even merge, creating a convergence of probabilities.
So it's not just a bunch of parallel universes running alongside each other.
Not necessarily.
There are points where those realities intersect.
Exactly. And during those moments of convergence, the collective consciousness plays an even bigger role.
Wow. So it's like we're all contributing to this massive energy field.
Yeah.
And the dominant emotions and intentions
determine which reality we experience.
So if enough of us choose love, compassion, and unity, could we actually shift?
That's the question the Law of One poses.
Wow.
It doesn't give us definitive answers,
Right.
but it invites us to consider the possibility, to explore the power of our choices, and to become conscious participants in shaping a future filled with love, harmony, and abundance.
Okay, I think I'm ready to shift gears a bit here.
Okay.
You know, we've explored all these mind-blowing concepts from the Law of One, but who actually brought this information to light?
Right.
It feels almost otherworldly.
It's an incredible story.
Okay.
This information wasn't like found in some ancient text or anything. It was actually channeled in the 1980s.
Wait, channeled? Like a cosmic phone call?
It's kind of.
From another dimension.
You could think of it that way.
Tell me more.
Okay, so imagine a form of communication where an individual, in this case a woman named Carla L. Ruckert, enters into a deep meditative state. And allows another consciousness to speak through them.
So it was a group?
Yeah, it was a group of 3 people.
3 people?
Yeah.
Okay, so who are the other 2?
The other 2 members of the group were Don Elkins.
Don Elkins, okay.
He was a physicist and a UFO researcher.
Okay.
And Jim McCarty.
Jim?
He facilitated the sessions and like meticulously documented everything.
So a physicist, a channel, and a documenter.
Exactly.
What an interesting trio.
It really is.
What led them to this project?
Well, Don Elkins, he had spent decades researching UFOs, exploring consciousness. Carla, she had previous experience as a channel. And then Jim was drawn to spirituality and the unknown. So together, they formed this research group seeking answers
to life's big questions.
Exactly.
And then in 1981, they made contact.
They made contact with an entity calling itself Ra.
Ra.
Yeah.
Like the Egyptian sun god.
They actually asked Ra that very question.
Oh, they did, yeah.
What did Ra say?
Ra described itself as a 6th density social memory complex.
A 6th density social memory complex.
Yeah, basically a collective consciousness of beings who have evolved way beyond our current understanding.
Okay, so an advanced extraterrestrial collective consciousness.
Exactly.
Communicating through a woman in the 1980s.
That's the gist of it.
This is wild.
It is quite a story.
Yeah.
It raises a lot of questions.
Yeah, it does.
But the thing is, they maintain this very scientific and objective approach throughout all their sessions.
So they were careful about it.
Very careful.
Yeah, okay.
They documented everything.
Yeah.
Trying to minimize personal bias and, make sure the information was as pure as possible.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
It sounds like they were really dedicated.
Yeah, they were very dedicated to this work.
And they called this the Law of One. Why that name?
Well, according to the material itself, the Law of One is the fundamental principle that underlies all of creation.
Wow.
It's the law of love.
Okay.
The law of unity.
Ramara presented this information as a way to help humanity understand the nature of reality.
And make more conscious choices.
So they see us as younger siblings.
Exactly.
On this cosmic journey.
And they believe we're at a really crucial point.
Oh, wow.
In our evolution.
It's amazing to think that beings from another density would be so invested.
I know. It's pretty incredible.
In our well-being.
Yeah.
But I have to ask, how can we know if any of this is accurate? Right. Can we really trust this information?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah. And the Law of One itself encourages discernment. Okay. It doesn't say hey, this is the ultimate truth. Okay. You have to believe this. It's more about presenting a perspective. Okay. A way of seeing the universe. Yeah. And it really urges us to test the information against our own experiences, our intuition, and then arrive at our own conclusions.
So it's not a dogma.
Right.
Or a set of rules we have to follow blindly.
Not at all. It really emphasizes personal responsibility.
Okay.
And free will.
Ra's teachings are meant to empower us.
Exactly.
To think critically, to seek our own truth, and to align with the path that resonates with our hearts.
Exactly.
I appreciate that approach.
Yeah.
It's not about blind faith. It's about personal exploration and discovery.
It really is a journey.
Yeah.
But with all this talk about timelines and densities and extraterrestrial contact, it's easy to lose sight of the practical application.
How can we bring this wisdom down to earth?
That's the key.
Yeah.
How do we apply it to our everyday lives? Well, the Law of One offers guidance for dealing with the challenges of our modern world.
Like what kind of stuff?
It encourages us to cultivate those positive emotions.
Okay, love, compassion.
Exactly.
Okay.
It highlights the importance of meditation for connecting with our higher selves. It reminds us that we're all interconnected.
Okay.
And that our choices have these ripple effects.
It sounds like a recipe for a more fulfilling and meaningful life.
It certainly can be.
The Law of One suggests that by aligning with these principles, we create a more harmonious inner and outer reality.
And we contribute to the shift.
The shift.
Towards more loving and conscious world.
This has been an incredible deep dive.
It has been fascinating.
I feel like I've learned so much.
Yeah.
But this is just the beginning of a much larger exploration.
It is a lifelong journey. Yeah. And the beauty of the Law of One is that it encourages us to keep seeking.
Keep seeking.
Okay.
Keep exploring.
Exploring. And on that note, I think we've reached the end of our deep dive for today.
Awesome.
A huge thank you to you.
Well, thank you for having me.
For guiding us through this amazing material.
It's been my pleasure.
And to our listeners, if this conversation has sparked your curiosity, I encourage you to explore the Law of One for yourselves.
It's definitely worth checking out.
You might be surprised at what you discover.
Yeah, you never know.
About yourself, the universe, and all the infinite possibilities that lie ahead.
Absolutely.
Until next time.
Yeah.
Keep seeking, keep growing, and keep shining your light.
See you next time.